Oh, right, there can't be two plushes on the computer table. Ah, come on, you can't beat me. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog. Whoa, Sonic, what are you doing? Can you please leave that bear alone? Fine, but I'll be watching you, bub. Don't worry, we need to deal with one too, you know. Hey guys and gals, it's me today Rocket, and today we're going to be reviewing Godzilla vs. Kong. So without further ado, let's cue the intro.
3, 2, 1.
Ready for liftoff, super Daniel rocket. Ready for liftoff, super Daniel rocket. He's ready to go. Review movies and shows and other stuff too. And sometimes the lack of food and our fantasy that really gets crazy between the skits as well as the short films because he's super Daniel Rocket. Get ready for it.
So yeah, here it is, the next big installment in the Monsterverse. It's like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but instead of superheroes, we got a lot of monsters. And I do feel like you have to keep that statement in mind because I kind of feel like this movie kind of has the Marvel problem where they think the audience, like everybody already watches the previous movies in the universe. So it's best to know the previous movies first. Even if you can't watch the movie, I'm sure someone has made a recap video somewhere. You can still understand it without it, but yeah, there are some elements that you might not really get it unless you watch the previous movies. Like, I wouldn't know who Millie Bobby Brown character was if it wasn't for me watching Godzilla 2 on TV a few days before I watched this. It's a bit weird that I kind of started off with a negative there, but let's counter that with a positive. Of course, this movie is called Godzilla vs. Kong, and the title doesn't lie. You're actually going to see Godzilla battling Kong in this movie. And it's not just one fight at the very end like most movies do with these kind of, versus movies, I guess you could say. In this movie, you actually get to see multiple fights, which I really appreciated because, the movie is called Godzilla vs. Kong. The main thing in this movie is these two fighting, so I guess it's best to, have it to the fullest potential. Fight more than just one. There's like round 1, round 2, round 3. Which I really like it. I think it really works for this kind of big scope and scale to have them fight multiple times rather than just, one time. And the way these fights are, filmed is pretty awesome, You get to see the camera moving all around and just smoothly transition into a different frame. It's so cool. I can't explain it to you, but when you see the movie, you know what I mean. There's just so many cool shots in this. I don't know why I'm doing it like this because that's the only way I can explain it. But yeah. The shots in this film and how they filmed the fight scenes is pretty cool. And the camera is going to be focusing on Kong and Godzilla in the majority of this film because, they're kind of the main characters in this. They actually have a story arc in this film, mostly with Kong, not much with Godzilla, but Godzilla does have a lot of screen time in this as well. But it kind of has a bit of a problem though because that means all the human characters are basically all side characters, unlike the previous films where they are considered like main characters and they have story arcs. They're just here in this movie to just make, the story flow together and have a way to, make these two fight each other, which is kind of a bit unfortunate because, we've seen these characters before and have story arcs in the previous films, like, Millie Bobby Brown character, Madison, but, it's a bit unfortunate, but, what you can do. I also really like the coloring and the lighting of this film, mostly when it comes to the daylight fight scenes, like in this one right here, this is straight from the movie itself. I really like how it looks and it really makes the monsters pop really nicely. But I kind of feel like they're kind of overdoing it with the neon light because there's so many neon lights in this film. I like Thor Ragnarok, but I don't think that needs to be, flooded into other films like this one. So overall, is it worth to watch? Absolutely. People have been waiting for this rematch for many, many years, and I think this finally brings that to a close perfectly. And yeah, it's even pretty short too, surprisingly. I kind of feel like it's very noticeable at some parts. Like, I kind of feel like they're kind of just like going one scene to one scene. Like, they're gonna rush it. We're rushing into the battle, but it's still pretty enjoyable and it's still things don't feel like they're moving too fast. So yeah, go check it out in the cinema or on TV. So anyways, without further ado, let's cue the spoiler warning. Okay, I know this might sound a bit weird, but I kind of feel like there's a lot of aspects in this film that are similar to Batman vs Superman. I know that's very weird, but yeah, I do like a lot of aspects of Batman vs Superman. But of course, I understand that that movie has a lot of flaws. But I'm glad to say that a lot of the aspects that they took from Batman vs Superman, they were able to present it pretty well in this movie. Like, you know, there's two people who don't like each other and want to kill one of the other, and then decide to settle their differences and fight an even bigger threat, a fan servicey threat, no less. So yeah, I was surprised with that, and there's a lot of world building as well, just like Batman vs Superman. They handled the aspects pretty well, surprisingly. Although speaking of this world building in this movie, I was finding it a bit weird that we have finally advanced in technology in this monsterverse. I mean, the previous movies don't have that much of futuristic technology, but here, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of neon lights and they're mostly used for all the advanced technology. You got cool laser engines flying out of a cool flying building that looks like it's from the future, even though we're technically in modern day. It's honestly pretty jarring. I know we're dealing with big fighting monsters here, but yeah, it is kind of jarring for me. I don't know why. That's just the feeling I have with me. As for the fight sequences, I do really like them, but I do feel like there's a lot of missed potential with these fight sequences. I kind of feel like they should use more of their abilities. There should be like more unique abilities, may I add. So yeah, I was kind of rooting for Kong, not because I'm like, yeah, Team Kong. It's just that, you know, it could have made for a more interesting fight, seeing how, you know, Godzilla here has a lot of crazy powers. That was interesting to see. How would Kong beat that? But oh well, what you can do. Godzilla kind of won most of them. So overall, I really like this movie. It's very enjoyable, it's fun to watch with friends. So yeah, it's a bit unfortunate the story element in this movie is kind of weak, but I do feel like they really are focusing on the battle between Kong and Godzilla here. Then, you know, not much else. They really trying to find a way to, you know, okay, how are we going to bring Kong to fight Godzilla? They ask that question and try to find a way to fleshing out the story based around that. And I think they did a pretty good job. They could have easily just done like, oh, Godzilla's going on a rampage and they had to bring Kong in to, you know, save the day. But no, there's a lot more to the story than that, and I'm really glad that they did that. Of course, I said it's fun to watch this with friends just now. That's because I did watch it with friends. So now let's go over to my friends Krishi and Jihad to see what their brief opinions are on this little movie here. Not little movie, of course, big movie, a large movie, a mega movie. So what do you think of the movie?
It's fine, but the graphics was fine, and overall the story was nice.
Yeah?
Like he said, the graphics were nice. Second of all, it's one-time watch movie and it's decent, not too much, and pretty much that's it.
All right.
That's it.
That it?
From my side.
For you? Nothing else?
That's all thumbs up.
All right then. Well, that's it. So with that said, all right, guys and gals, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. How did the camera get up there? That's kind of suspicious. Yeah. Come on, guys. You don't have to fight. You both can take turns using my new headphones.